Now we are back to part 3 of Trust Detailing COMOSYS 2024, and will not waste a lot of time. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just to turn this into that direction so that we might have a clear view of what we're trying to do. So as I had told you, we want to create a connection between the struts and the top between the connection between the struts and top and bottom chord of our truss. So I'll come here and see we have the points. We have some tools here, so we need to enable this. So this is a symbol of macro. We have the joint symbol. We have the points there, so we have to enable all of them now. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to select here. Let me just select everything that we need, and then I will isolate any part that we don't need in our selection. So I'll press Control and get rid of that, and we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need any gusset plate here for this particular connection. We don't need the welds there, so we don't need that, we don't need that. So let me just turn that around, and we don't need this. We don't need to include all these, and I'm just getting rid of them. But in some cases where we have to do this too many, so let me just, it's absolute waste of time. So let me just come here and select everything, slightly everything, and press letter M and enter. That's not a macro. Let me just enter my keyboard right there, and we have profiles, and click on profiles. So once I've clicked on profiles, I'll pick on the angles here. So once I've picked on the angles, I'll be able to close. So the columns have been left out, and we have these in place. So what I'm going to do here is quite simple. I want to create a connection. I want to create a weld connection between top and bottom chord. Now I'll come to IntelliConnect here. So under IntelliConnect, we have a variety of tools that are available for this particular connection. There's so many, but for this particular case, in our case, we'll only be dealing with the truss. So I'll click on that. So the moment you click on that, we'll be able to have this default information to define the thickness of the gusset plate. So we can give it a 6mm thickness there. So I can go ahead and click run. So let's wait and give it some time to see whether that will be generated. And we have some default information here that there's some settings that will not be able to work. So that's why we've seen that information. So I'll go back and try and select everything in the right order. So I'll click on empty screen here to deselect everything that I've selected. So I'm going to select from that spot and move to that spot here and leave it on that section. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to follow the same process to get rid of what we don't want. I don't want that. I don't want to include that in my connection, and I don't want to include this in my connection, and also I don't want to include this. So let me just rotate this. Let me just rotate that by pressing my right button on the mouse and hold, and I'll be able to rotate that comfortably. So I don't need this in my selection. So let me just rotate that and bring it closer. And in my selection, I don't need these welds. And what I want is only that. If I zoom closer, I don't need the bottom and these braces, and I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, and I don't need this, I don't need that. So if I zoom out once again, I'll just eliminate everything that I don't want to include in my next step. So if I turn this around like this, and again come and try my IntelliConnect auto connection here, in InterConnect Plus, if I come to truss here, I'll be able to click on truss. So the truss will still have my default of 6mm thick gusset plate. So let's try and click run. So if you click run, we'll be able to start seeing the process taking place, and you can see the gusset plates being placed automatically instead of clicking one by one to create a connection, which will be absolute wastage of time. And this is the beauty of COMOSYS 2024, and you can create a simple truss in just one go. So it's taking a little bit of time because I am teaching, and teaching you need to go bit by bit and don't rush so that you leave someone out. So if it's at work, it would have taken me like approximately 5 minutes or 10 minutes to come with a complete truss of this kind. So let's just give some time to finish everything, and we are closer, and there we are, and we have this information that everything has been done all the way to the bottom end, and it has indicated the time that it was done and the total time that it has taken, and you can see that. So let me just close that. If I close this and zoom out, we'll be able to see that we have this in place. So in any part that you see there's a clash, there's always a point where you have to customize this. So we don't need this gusset to clash with this. So I'm going to just to select on that gusset. So once I've selected on that gusset, I can either use the handles and flash it with this one here. So in whichever way possible, it can still work on my way. So let me just select any that one and press enter, press M and enter on my keyboard right like that, and give some time to bring to us the editor dialog box where we'll be able to edit, reduce the size of this particular gusset plate. Once we've done this, we'll go to the opposite direction and do the same thing. So let's give it some time. And here we are, and we want to modify this. So I'll come here and try and reduce this size. If I come to parts here, if I come to figure here, I'll be able to change this maybe to 20. 30 will be okay. If I click 30, if I key in 30, you'll be able to see that adjust itself to 30. So we have, this will be an assembly that will come together with the column on site. So the truss will just be bolted to the column like that. So there will be no interference of this particular gusset plate. So let me just go ahead and click OK, and we'll go ahead and do a similar thing on this far end here. So I'll select on it, then press letter M on my keyboard and press enter on my keyboard, and that will bring the editor dialog box. From there we'll be able to edit and feed and key in the right dimension that we prefer, that will not create a collision between the two gusset plates when the direction is being done on site. And here we go, and let me just key in the same thing. If I key in 30 here, and you can see that has been rectified as quick as that. So if I turn it around like that, that's what you see. So you can see the symbols everywhere, and these clogs will make our drawing looks busy. And what we do, we can always go ahead and disable those things. So we have these in place. So the next thing is we can create the views. So how do you create the views in COMOSYS? So I can select right there, right click, and come to grid line, and come to create views on grid line and grids, and that by default have that. So I can just view this through line A, view line A. If I double click line A, view line A, you can see that. If I double click on view line A, you can be able to see we have the truss in place. So you can always go ahead maybe and maybe double click on that, and you can get rid of all these, of all the grid lines, so that we just remain with the truss, with the bottom grid. So the rest looks super nice. As you can see, this a clean truss done in COMOSYS 2024. So that's how you do it. So there's another way also. If I double click in here, I can enable the vertical. I can enable the vertical. I can enable the vertical lines. If I click on that, you can see we have the vertical lines in place. I can go back and disable them by unchecking this and click apply and give it an OK. So that's all about that. I think we've seen the workflow, and if it is applicable to you, I think you can use that. So if I switch back to 3D, we have this in place. So we want to populate this along the full length. Then prior to that, we can't populate that if we haven't placed the base plate. So we'll do the same on the next presentation once we place the base plate. So let's meet then. Bye bye, and I hope you try that by yourself, and that will be very important to hear that you managed to do something similar to this in COMOSYS 2024.